Auspex Scan.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is cool. That is very cool. Okay.
Welcome to the PhoBros Podcast, a Kill Team podcast, presented to you by the Florida United Kill Team.
All right. Welcome, guys, to the PhoBros Podcast. My name is Eric. I am on house arrest here with George from Six Sided Paradise.
What's up, everyone? I'm George of 6SP, and once again, I'm joined with my good friend, Cameron.
What up? I'm also on house arrest. George forgot to mention that he is a streamer and not on house arrest.
Yeah,
And
he's
we're
the streamer of
joined
the
this
group.
week- Yes, he is the streamer. And we're joined this week by Mark. He is the world's nicest man. He is Vox Scream, and he came down to Florida. He joined the boys for a good time at Crucible 2 months
Yes,
ago.
sir.
We love Mark. We welcome Mark. Say what's up.
Guys, it is a blast to be here. I'm so excited to chop it up with y'all, and so nice to see y'all again. George, I mean, this is our first time meeting face to face, but yeah. Like you mentioned, Cam, it was just so much fun hanging out with y'all at the Crucible tournament down there in Orlando. That was like 2 months ago now.
Time flies, bro.
Yeah.
It feels like
Yeah.
it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It does
Yeah.
feel like very recently. It was funny. We just had that tournament here yesterday, and I was like, went and played it, whatever. And I came home and I was like, wow, that was the first tournament in nearly 2 months. And it didn't feel like it had been that long since Crucible at all. Funny time warp happened there between Crucible and Worlds.
All the
Yeah.
brain melting from Crucible, all those games you guys played over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I
intense. We were talking about it, like Joe and I driving back, because I was going to New York Open 3 weeks after Crucible, and that time went by just like in an instant. And like Crucible, like y'all went to Nova as well. That was just a couple short weeks after Nova.
Yeah, that turnaround time killed me, I think, because Nova was actually the most draining thing I've ever done in terms of kill team. Because you guys played the team event as well. It was the team event that really killed me. It was the initial 3 games followed by the 7 of the actual GT. I've talked about this before. I left there completely like mind warped, just wrong.
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
games is a lot of games.
10 games is a ton, dude. That's like, it's almost too many, bro. It's almost like I don't know if I want to play Kill Team anymore after doing 10 games in a 4 days. It's pretty brutal experience. But you get to hang out with a lot of people at those big GTs, and that's kind of cool. It's like meeting new
Yeah.
friends and kind of getting dipping your toes into a different meta. Like you and Joe came down and hung out with us, and that was really cool. That was a good time. And we've talked about Crucible on the pod before. I think one of our first episodes was like right after
Hmm.
Crucible, but it was sick. That was a good time. I didn't play. I was just messing around, trying to figure out Approved Ops 2025. But that was a cool event, and I'm glad you guys came down for it. And speaking of like post tournament vibes, right now we're kind of sitting in the post Warhammer World Championship meta, and we're kind of seeing. I feel like we saw some teams that surprised us in the fact that they did so well up in the top
Hmm.
16 and maybe even in the top 10. And obviously we had some really, really good pilots that you always see up there, right? But at the same time, there's a reason that those guys are picking those teams, right? So how do you guys feel about the meta right now, especially after what we saw at Worlds?
I've always said that when the new teams drop, and everyone gets all gassed up with the rules, and they're like, "Oh, these teams are cracked." There's always that one team lurking that everyone forgot about that somehow counters the shit out of whatever that new team is. There's a reason that there were so many, like you said, random teams like Felgor and Mandrakes up in the top 10. And it's probably because they know something we don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Felgor very quickly was an apparent counter to Canoptek. That was like immediately apparent, even in our local meta here. So seeing people take them and doing so well with them was I think a pretty obvious choice. Mandrakes, I don't know. Someone have any thoughts on that one? I don't know where that came from in terms of being a popular choice in the top 10.
Well, I'll ask you this really quick. What's the thing that Mandrakes and Felgor have in common?
they're
They're
really
really good at
annoying.
play.
They
Yes, they
flank really
are.
well.
Everybody is getting an A right there. All those answers are correct. They are super annoying, but also they both play flank really well, and flank
Yeah.
is probably one of
Mhm.
the best tac ops around right now. Obviously, with Mandrakes, you can just flank wherever you want. You can, put everybody on the party bus, flank them all the way onto the other side of the map. In terms
Yep.
of just like their play into, the sort of meta menaces right now, like Canoptic and Deathwatch, you're taking the 2-up save of the Aegis on the Deathwatch and turning it into I guess, a 3-down save, right? Like worsening their
Mhm.
save stat by 2 effectively.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy there. And obviously with Canoptech, if you're able to you should, just do anything to try and get some shots in there. But I mean, those are the sorts of teams too where I think,
Is the audio bad?
well, I guess specifically on the Canoptech side, right? Like you could just warp right into their backline where they're hiding their little tiny like reanimator or their accelerator, and those are like actually extremely good kills, right? Like you kill one, you get a
Oh
point on
yeah.
the kill op immediately. Like if you kill the reanimator, they're just on the back foot right away.
Mhm.
Losing the reanimator early with Canoptek is not good.
Mandrakes are
But yeah, I
brutal
think
in this,
that
yeah.
yeah, I didn't pick that out for Mandrix at all. So very good, Mark. I did not even think about that. But you're right. They do just kind of teleport. They get in what they want.
Yeah, they're able to play like a really kind of cagey style where, you're kind of reacting to your opponent's moves. You're able to kind of go aggressive if you really need to. You've got not every combat trick, but you got so many tricks just like moving through walls, fighting first, all those sorts of things that you want to really kind of like gain an edge. Like, and,
Mhm.
I think in the World Championship, everybody's playing at their top, the top level, but everybody's going to get gotcha every once in a while, right? Like sometimes you're going to forget that they fight first and you're going to get egg on your face because of it, right?
Yeah.
I guess the thing that I'm still trying to figure out, though, because I think the thing about Mandrakes, even more so than other elf teams, is you just cannot make mistakes because they don't have quite as much durability as some of the other elf teams. They don't have quite as much flexibility because it's harder for them to get through APL, right? And so, like, I feel like you just have to play such a perfect game with them in order to, maximize them. And I mean, I think that's the same with a lot of elf teams, but more so with Mandrakes.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah, I agree.
an important thing that I've been focusing on a lot in this edition that I think mandrakes do really well, and I feel like when you first start playing third edition, you might not consider this. I know I didn't necessarily consider it, was the exact kill op breakpoints, and less so much that I'm getting kills to score points, but understanding how many operatives I can lose and how many points I can give you by sacrificing a certain number of operatives. And since mandrakes are able to play such a cagey game, and they have the stuff like fight first and the ability to get good chip damage, and if they can reach your breakpoint in melee, they can kill you, stay on conceal, they can play that flank, and they're really hard to remove. They're able to just deny you points on kill op. They're able to maximize their tac op points. They have a lot of movement shenanigans, right? Like everybody's familiar with the post activation dash, post your activation, the other dude's dash, and so they're
Hmm.
able to move around and play the mission and control the board however they please, and they don't have to lose that many bodies to do it. They don't actually need to interact with you that much, and I think that's actually what makes them incredibly strong. Is the fact that the kill op exists, right? And there's that break point. If they beat you by one on the kill op, that's 2 extra points, right? And they can control that break point really well. And at the end of the day, if you win a kill team game by 1 point, you win. If you win by 2 points, you
Yeah.
win. A win's a win,
Still winning.
and it's something interesting to think about because I went to Worlds last year. I didn't go this year, and when I did, I remember talking to one of the guys from Spain, and he had lost a game by 1 point, and I go, oh well, 1 point game. That's pretty much that could be a dice roll, you know. And I remember him telling me, no, actually, I plan on winning a game by 1 point sometimes. And I go, man, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, really? Like, you can do that? And then fast forward a year later, I played a lot more kill team games. And I've had a lot of games this year that I've won by 1 point. And it was, maybe I don't walk up to the table and go, yeah, I'm going to win this by 1 point. But by the end of turn two, I'm like, well, if I do this, and this, and I control this and stop him from. I know what his tac op is. I know what the crit op is. I see what happened turn two. I can win this by 1 point and just almost guarantee like have as little dice out of the equation as possible. And mandrakes can do that
Yeah.
kind of play style.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you bring up like just a dice roll being the critical factor. I remember listening to it was like a basketball podcast one time, and they were talking about how oh well, this bad call at the end of the game really swings things, but the players and the coaches aren't thinking about a bad call like that. You have to play so well that a bad call doesn't affect the outcome. Like
Right.
you need to be making your game plan in such a way where you're not like if it is dice dependent, like you need to be kind of going along the same thought process as what you've already outlined, like knowing how many operatives you can sacrifice in order to get those breakpoints in the kill up or to get your tac up, whatever the case may be. And I think because of that, like, I look at some of my own wins like in this past year, and I think one thing I've really noticed about my outcomes at tournaments, and maybe this is like sort of a style difference between myself and from maybe like my co-host George. Like George plays every game with the intent of maxing out and scoring 21 points, and he does it a shockingly high number of games. But I don't think a lot of my games I end up maxing score. Like when I look at a lot of like my wins at tournaments, I'm scoring a lot of like 15-point wins, 13-point wins, 18-point wins, and I think it's just it kind of goes to just the style that I have kind of settled into, which is really playing maybe a little bit more of like a reactive game and trying to like get points where I can and kind of waiting for my opponent to come to me in a lot of situations. And, I think the thing that I need to do as a player to kind of go to the next level is to balance that with aggression to make sure that I am, in fact, getting the most out of stuff. But when I look at these teams that did really well at Worlds, a lot of these teams, Felgor Ravagers, which have been probably my favorite team to play over the 2025 calendar year. Like they're a team that I think a lot of people think of as like a really aggressive team, but you ask the best players out there, they are very much a team that wants to play a reactive game, play the crit up and the tack up, and then just go in for the kill when it suits them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
as just picking them up, that's I think the best play style you can have with them. But I played PhoBros the same way. PhoBros was the first team I really played competitively at all, and I always was counterpunching with them, always very reactionary. And it's funny that you brought that up because I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat with my scoring, where I do kind of land in like the 15 to 18 points most of the time. And I also like to play reactionary, but I do see these moments of aggression that pop out. Usually, though, the reactionary play for me comes down to me wanting to actually feel more in control of the game. Because if I can kind of let my opponent do the wild thing, that then I know I can counter and make it seem, just kind of like push the fire out of whatever the aggressive play was. I feel like I then have control of what's going on, and then I can get aggressive once I've dealt with that initial kind of explosion. Sometimes it just screws you, though, if you wait too long.
Yeah, no, I agree. You look at some of these other teams that I think are kind of going to bubble up to the top of the meta. Nemesis Claw is still a team that I think we're going to see a lot of in the sort of post-Worlds meta. They're going to play great against Wolf Scouts. Love to talk about them in a little bit, but they're going to play great against them. They're going to play great against Deathwatch.
A lot of Canoptic Circle and Circle still up there, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their expendable operatives are so good. And I think that's, when you first look at Canoptech and you're like, oh yeah, they have the Geomancer, does all kinds of crazy shit. You have a guy that heals 3d3, even with the nerf. Like, that's pretty strong. You can't do 9d3 a turn, but like 3d3 is still really strong. I have a gun that just deletes you. Hey bro, pick up your model. Like, you look at all that and you're like, that's crazy. But I think really what makes them insane is that you're like, oh, I can just throw away this model that has 5 dice blast on ITD, or I can just throw away this model that has a piercing 1 bolter on open, and yeah, you can kill him, but I'm just gonna it's just gonna be miserable for you, and then he's just gonna come back, and you put so much into killing these expendable guys, and it doesn't matter. As long as they get some damage off on you, it's worth it for them, and I think it's kind of hard to like crawl through all of that in addition to the other crazy stuff they have.
It's the piercing one that's so miserable with that.
Yeah.
And dude, 5 dice blast can,
It's like
5 dice blast is crazy, bro. Lethal 5 on ITD.
And the explosion on death,
strong.
like I think that's the only annoying thing for the Felgor matchup is I've actually won against Canoptic every time I've played Canoptic as Felgor. It's still really bad for Canoptic, but they start throwing the expendable models up top of TP2 and throwing them over the mid board and frenzying goats on the first shot because they get within 2. And as a goat, you're not really gonna save. You're saving on 5s. Like you're gonna get frenzied on the first P1 shot, and then it's like, okay, cool. Like you still have enough in the tank to win the game, but it is really frustrating. And then the explosion on death obviously hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. Like, I think that it's definitely like a pro Felgor matchup, but it's just so irritating just getting blown up. And like, you cannot give up a blast in that matchup. Like,
imagine how irritating it is if your guys don't frenzy.
Well, it's so funny because I'm in the fucked TTS league and I'm playing Gellerpox infected, and I played against Canoptech in my last 2 games, lost both of them. And I was playing against Drew, love Drew.
Drew's a good guy. He's a great guy.
Oh,
Shout out Drew.
Yeah. Shout out Drew. That dude is awesome. But we played earlier today, and he got a blast shot into Volgrar, the bloat spawn, a mutant, and then I think a glitchling. Like, just yeeted him up the board. I didn't position quite as well as I thought I did. And, accurate to and ceaseless. And I think he got a crit in every single roll there. Like, even himself, like, he had a crit and 2 hits in pretty much all of those. And I mean, he rolled 3 6s on his saves when he had to blast himself. So I mean, it was incredible. But I mean, that's the thing, is just like, if you give up that blast, it feels bad. It's one of those things that's like, that's one of the first, like, feels bad lessons you get in Kill Team is, don't get blasted. And sometimes, you just can't do much about it.
Yeah, especially with the wider team, like Gellerpox, you got a
models
lot
have
of
to go
bodies,
somewhere,
man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
seeing here a lot of Rekka crew as well. There was a lot of Rekka crews going on, like in Florida, in the community on TTS, and then at Worlds, you got a few Rekka players up there. Ben took Rekkas.
I
A few
I think
really,
they
yeah.
have some sauce into the current meta. I don't think that they're overtuned. I think the buff they got, it was very helpful to them to allow them to just do more and not be so restricted. Getting that third APL on a charge, it lets you open a door charge, do a mission action, tap a point charge. And that makes a huge difference because normally you'd be like, well, I gotta loot, so I'll just loot and stand here. But now you actually have some flexibility,
Hmm.
and they're a blast to play. I think that they can maybe lose to any team, but I think they can beat any team as well. I think Rekkas are kind of in this unique
Just roll
space.
sixes, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, but the thing is, you also have ways to generate Rekka points without rolling dice,
Mhm.
and you have to kind of really understand when you need to lean into those to start getting the snowball rolling. Because if you're not getting those sixes and you're waiting on that to happen, you need to go ahead and use like your knob, and you need to use like your rocket hammer. You need to take obscured shots with your gunner and just do what you can to start uh, getting those points rolling. Because once the snowball's going, you can do a lot. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Rekkas are here to stay, dude. I think Rekkas are going to be a big player in the meta for the next 3 months at least. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and you know, I guess one question I had for y'all when I was thinking about this sort of like post Worlds landscape is I think a lot of like pro sports leagues, you think about them as like copycat leagues where, a team wins the championship with, an aggressive style of defense. And then the next season, everybody else is playing a very aggressive style of defense because they see that that works really well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, we can all agree on like a lot of these best teams. We're going to see a lot of Felgor, Deathwatch, Canoptech, all these teams, Rekkas. These are all going to be teams that are going to be big players in the meta for a while. But Mandrakes is a question for me because I think Mandrakes is a team that like a lot of people were like super down on, even like
Mhm.
after immediately after the approved ops changes. Like we had a player locally who's a pretty good guy, and he was like, their Mandrakes are fine. And we saw at Worlds that it's like a really good pick into the meta right now, and that they have really good tac ops. But like I said earlier, it's a team that it really requires precision and perfect play. Do you think that we're going to see a lot of Mandrakes in the meta moving forward, or do you think that's going to be restricted to really like top table level of play?
I think that first of all, I'll put my foot in mouth right now. Number one Mandrake hater sitting right here. That's me. I was the guy who was like, yeah, Mandrake's basically the worst elf team. They suck, right?
Yeah,
That was me. I
yeah.
think
You got your
that,
bone darts. What else do you have?
yeah, dude,
Nothing.
like, you're an elf. I'll just bonk you in the head. You're dead, bro. Like,
Yeah.
they're very CP hungry. Like they're I always thought they were a solid team, but a lot of the other elf teams just had a lot more sauce to me. But I think that the skill floor to execute things well as Mandrakes is extremely high. And I think that we're
Exactly.
going to see people who are picking up Mandrakes and going, you know what? I saw Ace do it.
Nope.
I saw Adrian do it. So it can be done. And they're not wrong. It can be done. But those are what we've seen consistently to be some of the best players that we have of
And
all
kill team. And
metas
all the
and
kill
kill
team.
team,
Yeah.
right? And then so it's hard to look at players that are that good and expect yourself to perform at that level. I think we'll see more, but I think it's also something that I've seen with Deathwatch. Deathwatch is a really strong team. Like I think that they're incredibly powerful. I've watched a lot of newer players get destroyed playing Deathwatch because they got five bodies and they're tough to play. You got to put in the reps with them. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Mandrakes. They're extremely hard to play. I think if you really, really understand the game, you really understand positioning, you understand a lot of your enemy team extremely well. I think you can do really well with them. I don't know if we're going to see like a huge surgence of Mandrakes all over the place, but I think we'll see more now. I feel like I don't know about you, Mark, and y'all's meta, but we've seen them kind of fizzle out recently. I
Mhm.
feel like in the last 3 or 4 months,
There was a
like
lot.
there was a lot, and
Like
then we
six
kind of
months
There
ago, there
was
was
when
yeah.
when they came out, a lot of people were playing them.
But people are
yeah.
kind of
Oh yeah.
When I
figuring
first
out
started
Flame.
playing the game, I ran into them all the time. but then people stop playing them locally. I mean, most of the games I've played against mandrakes, as soon as you kill the Dirge Maul and the Chooser of the Flesh, the team falls apart. And I think if people don't, like Eric said, if people don't position them really well and know what the other team can do really well, as soon as they give you those kills, you just kind of eat the rest of the models, depending on what you're playing. But that's been my experience into mandrakes.
Yeah, I mean,
But
we actually have
it
like a
fizzled
pretty
out.
we have a pretty elf heavy. I don't want to say elf heavy, but we have a lot of people who really like to play elves in the triangle. And it's been that way for a long time. We have Eddie Lachinsky, who is he was one of the best Corsairs players in the last edition. He plays exclusively elves. We have a lot of other great elf players too. I played Chaos Cults into a player, Bree, and she was playing Blades of Cain last week. She had a fantastic game. She played a really aggressive style, which I thought was fantastic. Like really, took route, and I just wasn't expecting that at all. I'm very used to the elf game of like, you know what? I'm just going to take retrieval and kind of mess around and like score points at the end of the game. But no, it was like very aggressive and like frankly inspiring. Like it was an eye-opening game for me. But to talk about Mandrakes more specifically, I mean, like I said, Alex, who is a fantastic player, has played Mandrakes kind of as his main for a while. He's playing Canoptek now, and he's really excited for the Celestians when they're going to come out. But like, I think that he's been playing them pretty adamantly for a while, and I think that he was, I think maybe I'm misremembering it, but I think that he thought that they were, pretty good elf team, but certainly not like, above average power levels, I think, compared to some others. And apart from him, like over the last 6 to 8 months, I can hardly think of any Mandrakes players. I've seen we have like a pretty new player who started out playing Mandrakes, and since the World Championships, maybe I've seen like one more, but ultimately,
Tough
I've a
team to
very
start
similar
off.
experience to yours. Yeah. Well, maybe to me, it's almost like the idea of, when I started playing Kill Team at the start of 2023, I started with the starter set teams, right? I started with the veteran guardsmen, as they were known back then, and the commandos. And like, I think commandos are a great team to start learning with because you don't have to worry about flipping your order to engage. Just charge on conceal. And, guess what Mandrakes can
Yeah,
do? Charge on conceal. I think Wolf Scouts are
that's
going to
true.
be much the same. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
ultimately, like, while they may not be as forgiving as a lot of teams just because of the durability problems, I think Mandrakes are a plenty fine team to learn on because you can get to wherever you need to go. Like if you can come up with a
True.
creative game plan, I think you can, find a way to execute it.
I think Mandrakes just have that thing where it's like since they kind of fudge the rules with their shooting into defense and you have to like change your saves, people just don't like to play into them. So maybe in our meta they got dropped out because people were tired of playing into them or like, oh, playing Mandrakes again, dude, I don't wanna. And then like Tomas used to play Mandrakes all the time,
Hmm.
and so did Stan. And then all of a sudden they just kind of fizzled.
Are you guys seeing any uptick in Hoda players up there, Mark, after they got the new buff? And I'm wondering, like, too, like, that's a pretty attract. I think that team kind of fell off the radar for a while because everyone was like, "Oh, they don't have ceaseless anymore. They suck." I was playing them without the ceaseless buff. I still thought they were ridiculously good if you took route and you positioned really well, and if you could take advantage and truly maximize the pain tokens and the three APL capabilities and the healing factor, that you could beat a lot of teams with Hoda. I was beating Raveners because they had the two piercing two weapons. I was beating Canoptek because they had again the two piercing two weapons, and they had enough balance of melee and shooting to take on elites. They could take out hordes really easily. And then
Hmm.
now I actually haven't played a game with them once since they've gotten the new buffs, which are obviously only making them better. And I'm wondering if that will be an attractive pick for people in the elf world over the next few months as we talk about mandrakes, just because they are, I mean, they're really good now. There's no denying it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was championing Hand of the Archon up here as soon as I got back from Crucible. I mean, we saw your run and Christopher as well, like him playing Hand of the Archon and doing quite well at that tournament. Like, I think that they were good and the buffs that they got are great. Definitely, like, I don't think that they're like a GG team, I think that they're certainly like a good team. I'd probably put them in like the A tier somewhere, but that's most of what we're seeing up here in terms of elves right now is going to be Blades of Cain and Hand of the Archon. Like those are the two that I'm seeing the most up here at this
Yeah.
current moment. I think that the thing that I keep hearing over and over again, and like I'm not an elf guy, so I wouldn't know, but I hear that Hand of the Archon is one of the most fun teams to play, and that
Oh, they're
means a lot.
so fun. Oh god, it's like I mean sometimes they just lose so hard. It's like but it's like a cocaine kind of fun. It's like
Hmm.
there's so much adrenaline and like you are just snowballing, kind of like Eric was talking about snowballing the records earlier with Hand of the Archon. You are just snowballing. You really can't stop the momentum with them. I don't think they're like I've played a couple games where I had to play retrieval with them and switch up the game plan and it was okay. I won the games, but it wasn't nearly as fun. But when you can just do dominate a route and you just push up the board and you just kill and you keep getting pain tokens and you keep killing, you keep healing your guys. I mean, they can be really annoying. I mean, 3 APL elves are annoying, and a lot of the models too. If you're playing into an 8 wound or a 10 wound team, you can buff to 3 APL. You charge, fight, and then you shoot with lethal 5, 3, 4, and you've got a double kill with 1 elf. I mean, it can be really disgusting.
They
Yeah,
have
I
really
mean,
cool specialists too. I think they have really cool specialists.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
were you saying, Mark?
absolutely. I was just going to say, like, if you like to play like a more defensive or I suppose reactive play style like I do, I mean, Hand of the Archon loves that, right? Like, if you're just going to put people kind of around the bit board waiting for them to do something, they're very happy to do something.
So
Really,
they prey on it. They need
all you
you
can
to
do
let them get there.
exactly
Yeah.
all you can do is match their aggression. That's really the best thing that you can do into them.
Yeah, you want to, like, Eric and I played a match. We've talked about this game before, I think a couple podcasts ago, but he played me with Kroot and he stomped me out for our league match. He stopped my momentum so hard. I actually died. Like I had momentum, but I died on my charge and it left me so wide open. I lost my best model top of turn 2 on my second
Uh,
charge.
Sucks to
Uh,
suck,
oh
brother.
man,
But
to
yeah,
the crew,
and that was the game. I literally said it. I was
Eric
like,
was like,
that guy
"Send the
died,
hound,
and I was like, that's the
send the
game.
hounds."
What,
And it
Duelist
happened.
bounced off of a guy, and then I went and killed somebody on my next
You then
charge.
killed the Flayer,
Yeah. So 12 to
my
7
2 best models.
models. Kind of tough
It's like
place to be.
losing. Like, yeah, it's a tough. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like,
I
that's
ah,
the
feel like
thing
I
though.
play into
They start
mandrakes.
losing a few models, and it's like,
Yeah.
I play into
yeah.
them way too often. My practice partner is usually Christopher, and he's always playing mandrakes. So I every time I play kill team, I'm playing into
Or
mandrakes, and
Hoda.
it's just
is
Hoda,
he
you
playing
mean. He's
Mandrakes
playing
or?
yeah,
Hoda.
Hoda,
Yeah.
Hoda, not
Oh,
mandrakes,
okay.
Hoda.
I was
Oh
gonna say because
man,
Chris has been like
man.
championing. He's like the Hoda
Yeah, yeah.
champion.
That's why he's
Yeah.
been getting all his reps in against me. He knows how to take on elites, no problem. And he
Yeah,
has
and he's
Tomas.
crushing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He
Yeah,
beat
But
me
it's
won
in
your local
the
league.
fucked TTS league a couple weeks ago. He won by 1 point. It was a heartbreaker of a game, man. He played a fantastic game.
Dude, he's
Yeah,
getting good, bro. He's getting good.
Chris
Oh,
is
definitely.
I'm
spicy.
stoked for
Chris
Chris,
is
man.
spicy.
Love you,
He's
Chris.
and do you like playing elves, Mark, or are you more like because I know you like Felgor, you like the melee, you mess around with Gellerpox. Are you into elves? Because like I don't actually like to play
It
elves,
seems
to
like
be
you like
honest
the
with you.
weird teams, Mark. Like you like that, you have that flavor for the other side.
Well, I'll tell you this, I'm sorry to say this here amongst the PhoBros, but I've been a Marine hater for most of my 40K career. But I'm very much like a Chaos and a Xenos guy if we're talking in terms of aesthetics. I think one
Okay.
thing that I like a lot and has kind of helped my play is I tend to pick a team and stick with them for a long time. Like I said, in 2023, I played Vet Guard and Commandos pretty much all year. In 2024, I played Gellerpox most of the year. I thought those were the
Mhm.
coolest fucking models I'd ever seen, and they had caught in enough nerfs to where I was like, I'm not going to be that guy when I go out and play them. It turns out they were still really strong.
Mhm.
Had a great time with that, and then most of this year I played the Felgo Ravagers, as we were talking about. But I earlier this year, I want to say like in the summertime, I played Nemesis Claw for a couple months. Took them to the Goonhammer Open, had a great time there. It's
Okay.
such a fun team, like we
Definitely.
yeah, and I took them because I was trying to kind of expand my play style a little bit, and I think it worked a little bit, but I have more homework to do on that because like we had Dylan Gill, who ended up coming in fourth at Worlds on our podcast earlier this year, and he was talking a lot about like the Alpha Strike and early aggression, really basically doing whatever you can to sort of like dictate the flow of the game. And I found that I was able to do that with Nemesis Claw, getting the alpha strikes with the Ventrilla card, getting in, some creative Vox Scream plays and really just sort of dictating the pace of things. And like that was just such a fun way to play the game. So that's something that I'm hoping to do a little bit more. Currently, since the New York Open, which is my last big event I played at, I've been playing Chaos Cult and having a pretty good time with that. Accurate 2 and ceaseless is a hell of a drug. 7-inch movement when you need it is a hell of a drug. Like it's such a fun and toolsy team, but I'm
Seven
having a hard
inches
time
is
with
an
it.
elf thing, my guy.
Dude,
You
and
know?
that's
Imagine
like
having it all the time.
look,
It's crazy.
I have mandrakes. I painted them. They look kind of like that dude from Warcraft, like the purple
Oh
dude with
yeah,
the green
they always
tattoos.
have had that
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Phobos
exactly.
has
oh,
7-inch
definitely.
movement too. Wolf Scout,
Well,
7 inches.
I will say that I am hoping to keep playing Chaos Cult for a while. I'm hoping to maybe take them to the Cherokee Open. But in the meantime, it's been a while since I played like the new OP team on release. And so I'm going to treat myself. I didn't get a Dead Silence box, but I did get some Tormentors. I'm going to get a Master of Possession and then one of those AOS Direwolves. And boom, I've got myself some
Nice. Yeah.
Wolf Scouts a la Emperor's Children. So going to get
Very
those.
nice.
I'm pretty excited
Super
for them.
dope. Going back a second, you had mentioned how Mark, you're a very reactive player to like you like to wait it out and stuff. I think
Mhm.
Nemesis Claw is one of the best teams to do that because you mentioned you played
Oh.
them earlier this year, and I think, like you said with the Ventrilla card, the fact that you could just easily beat the Screecher, just delete a model if you wanted to get in
Mhm.
its face when you want to, and then you have some heavy hitting weapons like you could take the heavy gunner or the regular gunner. They definitely play into that play style that you were talking about with the whole reacting, waiting for your opponent to kind of overextend or just get in the wrong position. You're just like, oh man, I'm gonna eat this guy alive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
you
I
can.
think
Yeah,
I was going to say I think that they absolutely, and I want to say the big thing is that the new approved ops I think facilitate that play style for them much better than the old ones because like when I was
Oh,
playing them in approved
mhm.
ops 2024, I felt like I had to play super aggressive just because their tac out
Yes,
selection was really poor back then. I felt like I was playing sweep and clear or overrun pretty much every game.
me too. I usually main them, and I was playing over one every game.
Yeah. And so like I felt like I really had to just go like, like all out and really play aggressive with them. But I am interested to maybe try like a little bit more of like a laid back and reactive play style. Like I think that Wolf Scouts are going to be a great team for that kind of a play style to just kind of like
Can't
wait
wait.
for people to come into the trap.
it
Oh,
works
can't wait
great
for
with
this.
like a Phobos kind of style. That's all. Yeah, and I think the Tau team will be really good at that as well. Although I don't know, the Tau team actually it appears they don't really want to shoot you at all. I think they're
Hmm.
almost kind of like a Mandrake style stealthy from what I'm hearing from people that are playing them on TTS. They're essentially playing floor is lava and just like staying on top of Volcus buildings and
Hmm.
using that 1 inch drop to avoid charges. Stuff like that seems fun. But Mark,
Yeah,
just to tag in a little bit, because you had mentioned it
please.
slightly about the team that you want to take to Cherokee Open. That's an event that I missed last year. I think it might have happened before I actually started playing Kill Team. Why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown on that event that you guys put on up there? What team are you going to take this year if you know?
Please do.
Give us all the details. Tell us all about it.
All the
Yeah, yeah,
sweat.
yeah. Happy to. So Cherokee Open is in Cherokee, North Carolina. For those of you who don't know, that is very, very far west in North Carolina, very close to like Tennessee. I think Georgia's pretty close by there as well. It's funny because like we love going to the Nova Open. That's like a 4 hour, 4:15 kind of drive from like Durham up there. It's like 4.5 hours to get to Cherokee because it's just like mountain driving. It's crazy that like the local event is further away than another like major event that we love, but it is a fantastic time because it's at the Haraz Casino, so a really big venue with a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, cool.
It's a really well established event, like in 40K, like that's been going on there for a long time. So lots and lots of people there. They got vendors, all the usual suspects. And man, I mean, it's just beautiful up there, like in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Just a really, really lovely time. Last year we got like George, my podcast co-host, is the TO of that
George
event, and
Pratt.
George Pratt, yes, George Pratt. We basically got involved in the event maybe like a month and a half before the event kicked off, and so we didn't really have a lot of time to promote it. But we had about 30 people up there playing. We had Aaron Maryland and Landon from the Florida scene come up there. We met them, had a great time with them.
Nice.
Landon actually won that event.
Classic
So,
Landon.
yeah,
Child
yeah.
King.
I think that's where he got his
King.
golden ticket for this Worlds, where he got third place.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's going to be great this year. We're going to have 2 days, 6 rounds. It's going to be a golden ticket on the line. We're going to have a narrative event on Friday. And I mean, all the Vox Scream team's going to be there. Myself, George Pratt, and Joe Gallo. We're all going to be hanging out and playing games. I think Joe and I will be in the GT, and George and our friend Day, who helps us out a lot with the podcast. Love Day, shout out Day. They will be doing the TO responsibilities and running like the narrative event and such. But would love to see anybody out there. Tickets are available now. It's a Frontline Gaming event, so you can go to events.frontlinegaming.org and look at the Cherokee Open. It's going to be February 20th through the 22nd this year. So come out and hang out in North Carolina. It's a lovely place to be. Yeah. It's kind of a quiet time for tournaments, so it's
how's the weather?
To come up and hang out.
How's the weather over there around that time? It's always hot down here, but yeah.
In Cherokee, it's going to be pretty cold because it's up in the mountains.
That's
cold
nice.
weather.
So,
yeah, not like the far north cold, but like
it's Florida
5
cold,
or 6,000.
It's Florida cold.
That's Florida cold right there, dude.
I mean, yeah, it'll be you'll want to have a jacket. Probably toboggan.
Sure. What's the closest airport there? Because we have a lot of guys that will fly into these kind of events.
That's such a fantastic question. I know that they have because I mean in North Carolina,
make you do work.
Well, here, let's take a look. See, so Cherokee Airport. I want to say that there's like a smaller. So there's the Cherokee County Regional Airport. If you're able to get flights in and out of there, I think the next biggest airport is probably the Charlotte Airport. And you're gonna have to drive from there. So I won't lie, it's maybe a little bit difficult to travel to, but it's gonna be well worth it if you're able to make it.
Nice. Eric will just fly me.
Landon's made the voyage. We'll just follow him there. He knows how to get there.
We could cruise up there, dude. We could cruise into Cherokee Regional, bro.
Get a bus. Get the giant bus. Just
flying bus, bro.
Look, all I can say is that I had such a blast coming down there and hanging out with y'all at the Crucible tournament. Definitely hoping to. I don't know if I'm going to make it to the Crucible, but I definitely want to make it down to like one of the Florida majors this year again, just because I mean y'all are so cool. Thanks, man. The Florida boys do it different, man. Like y'all just have such a good time, and the level of sportsmanship and like the skill floor there is just very, very high. So zero easy wins at that tournament.
Steel sharpens steel.
It's a very friendly Shark Tank.
Yeah. These guys are sharpening their daggers on TTS. Like if you look at that TTS chat, they're playing games all day, every day.
Oh yeah, our boys. I don't do it, but a lot of these boys love their TTS.
We don't do it.
I'm not a big TTS guy. Yeah, no, I like.
I used to be. Now I've gotten kind of over it, but I think that's the big thing where you got to come to a Warp Fire tournament sometime, Mark, because that's like our mothership. Ben from Team Casuals, he puts them on out there.
Messiah himself.
And Jordan, the store owner, is the coolest game store owner on the planet. Prove me wrong. And we always hang out before, we hang out after. We do stuff inside and outside the Kill Team sphere as a community, and I think that's what makes the community really cool. And I think we do have some really solid players, man. And hell, you see, we got Landon got third at Worlds. Now, granted, Landon's kicking our ass all the time, but
he's just built different, dude.
He's built different, bro. He's built different. He is, and he's just a weapon. But having a guy as good as Landon, who's in our local, crushing us every day, every tournament, we just get to play against someone who's that good, and I think that has really helped the scene and helped grow everybody else, and then in turn, it's just trickling down, and the vibes are there, so it's pretty cool. But I think it's a good time to go into our weekly Auspex Scan with Cameron. You have something this week, right?
I do have something this week. Let's get it
Auspex Scan incoming.
For the boys.
All right, let's see what you got.
screen share problems. Just gonna share my entire screen. I'm just gonna pull it up right here. Here we go, boys.
Perfect.
This week we're talking about Ex Obscurus. So I think in the past we talked about Glaive. Glaive is another one of my favorites, kind of like quarterly gaming magazines. And through Glaive, I have discovered Tabletop Wargame Digest. This is another super white dwarf. This is very like hipster gaming kind of stuff, very 80s and 90s gaming punk vibes here. And it's really everything you could want if you're into the vast majority of tabletop gaming. They cover everything, which is really, really nice. They do everything from D&D to Warhammer Fantasy. I actually don't think I've seen Kill Team in this current issue yet. Maybe in the next issue. But what's cool about this and what I love about these mags is that they are usually done by one or two guys. They're making these themselves, and they're getting them printed. This one is actually sold out. It sold out almost immediately because people are really loving these designs right now, which is awesome. You can actually get the PDF version right now, which is $5. Or he's going to do another print run here soon as well. So huge shout out to Tabletop Wargame Digest if you are into having some physical kind of wargaming media around to kind of dig into. Even if you're just going to toss it on the coffee table. Like if you come to my house, I have like a bunch of issues of various old White Dwarfs and Glaive magazine issues just kind of tossed around. Most people look at them and they're like, what the fuck is that? But if you are a cool guy and you like tabletop wargaming, it's something good to have.
Nice. And now we all know, Cam, that you're the kind of guy that has 12 tabs open on your browser, and there's no going back to some mortal else on the internet, bro.
Dude, mine's
Sorry.
disgusting. Dude. Mine's really bad. Yeah, it's bad.
All right,
I'm okay
perfect.
with it, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah. And yeah, so now I think let's roll into our play of the week. Let's talk about what kind of cool shit we've had happen in our recent games.
Play of the week.
So, I know Cam and we just had a little like 20-man tournament this weekend. George and Mark, have you guys been playing games this week, or has it been a busy week for you guys?
No, I've been being a slave at the house.
Dad
Doing
mode,
some home
full
improvement.
dad
Home
mode.
improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Mark? You been playing anything?
Yeah, I've gotten some good games in this week. I played my Kill Team League game on Tuesday. I think I mentioned that I was playing against I was playing against Blades of Cain. They took route. It was a very aggressive style against my Chaos Cult on ITD. Played a pickup game on Saturday against the Ratlings with my Chaos Cult. I got smoked in that game. Played against Drew earlier today on TTS, and I also played. I had to play I played 4 games this week. I had to play a pickup game, or rather a makeup game for the league. I think that was Thursday, and I played against the Hernken Jaegers. So, gosh, I guess my record this week is 1-3. So got to
Hey,
get off the schneid here a little bit.
can't win them all, bro. But I mean, was there anything that
No.
happened in your games that was super sick, either done on your half of the table, your side of the table, or done to you?
And I think the biggest thing, like I think in every game there was something interesting that happened. Like I said, that aggressive route playstyle from Blades of Cain really caught me off guard and was just an excellent way to go. And I think that's how you have to play against Chaos Cult. You have to be aggressive. You have to, just get rid of as many of like the little guys as you can before they mutate. You want to get rid of, the mutants before they can get to torments. And obviously, if you leave a torment around for too long, they're just gonna, you're gonna have a bad time, right? So it was really inspired by that. In my Hernken Jaegers game, I mean, my opponent took Dominate, which is just such a fantastic choice against a team like Chaos Cult, especially when you've got, a 5 dice rocket launcher that's going to sit on Vantage all game. I can't really shoot it dead. You've got one of the better silent snipers in the game with the Piercing 1 sniper on their dude. So, I mean, I was really, I liked that choice by him. I think the thing that I liked that I did in that game was knowing that they have that ploy that lets them shoot you if you charge one of their guys. I was able to charge my Torment into the Bladekin, knowing that he was going to take a shot with his sniper, who was like kind of on the ground. And so I was able to charge around in a way to get within 2 inches of the sniper, and with my sickening aura, was able to make it hit on 3s instead of 2s, and managed to only take 3 damage from that shot. So that really was
Nice.
pretty clutch for me there.
That's a smart
I
play.
mean,
That's cool.
yeah. I mean, look, if you're gonna get shot, you want everything to go your way, right? And like hitting on threes is a lot harder than people make it out to be.
Sickening aura, dude. You know, that's one of those things you have it on and you're just like you're watching your opponent's dice tray and you're like, "Come on, bro. I want to see those twos you normally hit on, bro. I want to see you hit on threes. I want to see threes, dude, 'cause your ass hits on
Hmm.
fours. What's up? Like you're just glued onto the dice tray like, "I hope this CP pays off, bro. I hope this shit pays off." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, that's 4 6s." And
Yeah.
you're like, "Well, I'll just go fuck myself real quick. I'll just
Part of
go."
the reason I like it is because it's all the fun of Gellerpox in a single ploy. Like it
hmm
is just that one big thing from like it's the barrel warp and the rust emanations all rolled together.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah.
cool. And yeah, so for me,
What happened in your game?
I took down this little
Tell us.
I had the three
Tell us.
round kind of RTT at it was put at a Blaze Pizza, by the way. The
Outside kill
manager
team.
of Blaze Pizza had us he organized a tournament for us. One of the local guys from Daytona Beach, that is the manager at Blaze. He had us set up on the patio. Was super cool, by the way. If you've
Yeah.
never played Kill Team outdoors in 70-degree weather, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. It was a good
10 out
time.
of 10.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, dude. You know, Blaze Pizza included in your registration. This shit was badass, bro. But I took Rekkas because I just need an excuse to
Of
finish
course you
hobbying
did.
my Rekkas. I just need to finish, dude. I
Of course
haven't
you
been
did.
played. I played one game with them before, but I wanted.
Oh, okay.
No, I did. I did. I wanted to have an excuse to finish hobbying them, and I had a good like I had a little bit of luck in my win path. You know, I had Mandrakes, and then I had just that we talked about how good Mandrakes are, right? And then I had Goremongers, and I had Felgor, and I think Rekkas. The thing is, Rekkas have play into like any team, but
Yeah.
the big thing was, you know, I had a couple blast plays with the rocket rack. I'm just a rocket rack slut. I'll pick the rocket rack every time. I don't care if I look at it and I'm like, you know, the Pulsa would be better. I want a 3-inch severe blast, bro. Like I don't care. But I often, you know, I always bring the hammer guy because I have a one box list of Rekkas. I don't have anything else to take. So I have two Breaka Boys, Hammer, the Rocketeer Gunner, Hydraulic Fist Crusher Man, who's an incredible model by the way, and then the Knob with dual rocket pistols. I just ran that every time because that's like all the models I have. So I was going into Felgor. Uh, it was actually against Cam. Once again,
Like me.
we'll roast
Yes.
Cam on Play of the Week. We were top
Yes.
table. Yeah, this is for the dub. And granted, Cam also hadn't played against Rekkas before, and commandos aren't that popular these days. So not you kind of have to get used to like the just to scratch math when you're dealing with melee teams against orcs, right? You really got to consider like I need crits, bro. So that was kind of brutal. And but I knew that I needed to just kind of be aggressive with my squigs, um, just to start making things happen. Because I kind of assumed he had retrieval, so he wasn't going to be pushing up to me. So I launched both my squigs in a really aggressive position. They were basically guaranteed to either blow up or die. And Cam had staged his Vandal and his Gorehorn behind a stronghold door to basically come out and swing a hammer and ruin my day, right? So I launched a squig up to try and counteract that, and Cam had actually left a little bit of space in the door for the Gorehorn to kind of be nearby. And he had asked me about the squig and how if the blast goes through the door. And I go, no, the blast doesn't go through the door, but I can actually fit my 25 mil base on the other side. So then Cam blocked the door with his Gorehorn. So there
Which I
was
didn't really want to do.
you
Like it
didn't
was
want to
like I was like,
do, and that's what kind of ended
no.
up sucking is it's like, well, if you would have maybe lost the Vandal, but instead, you know,
I said I lost
spoiler,
so much more.
spoiler alert, we lost more. So he put his Gorehorn up to body block the squig, not a terrible move, but I do this cheeky thing where like I pre-measure all kinds of shit across the entire board. I've actually talked about this before, it's not on the podcast, but I'll be like, okay, I'll pre-measure like the length of a pistol shot if you're standing here. I'll pre-measure a charge from here. I'll pre-measure a charge for me from here. I'll pre-measure this and that. And then at some point in there, I had pre-measured my charge with my hammer guy, who wasn't even there yet, to get to the door. So I measured like 6 things, and in the middle of that, I measured with my a 6-inch charge to the door. So then I knew exactly where to put my hammer guy. I moved the hammer guy up and threatened mid with the hammer guy, but really I knew that I could charge that door. And so first activation, Cam just didn't see that I had that charge. He killed one of my squigs. I'm pretty sure you did, or you might have actually killed somebody else. I can't remember
No,
what the hell happened.
I did another
Oh,
amazing
you
perfect
stunned.
6 Cox stun.
You stunned
Yeah.
my crusher, so I had my crusher guy and my knob. Each lost 3 wounds. Each were -1 APL from the Toxhorn. That's right. So I had two
Toxin
guys
did
on
work.
Vantage. I
Yeah,
had two
it was
guys on
working.
Vantage. They were gonna do nothing. They were too far away. Like my knob ended up doing something, but like the explosiveness of the knob just wasn't there. Dude's doing one thing basically, right? Um, and so that's when he did that. Bummer, another 6 on the Toxhorn grenade. I charge my hammer guy in, and it always ends up for me for whatever reason. The math on the hammer guy, I never end up using the detonate. It's always like 9 times out of 10, I'm like, well, I should just bonk this guy with 4-5. I reduce damage by 1 coming my way, so like, why am I gonna explode myself? But now I have two 10 wound Felgor in my control range, and one of them has 3 APL. They're just an ambush is up, like it was gnarly. So I just drop the nuke. I frenzy both of them, and I kill myself. And in the process, I rolled a couple 6s. I killed 3 guys, right? Uh, and uh, and then finished the action. Long story short, I got 6 Rekka points out of the whole ordeal. So I went from that, just completely maxed out my Rekka points, and then from there I just never missed anything ever again. I just right like I think at some point I spent 1 Rekka point that I didn't need just to have 5, just to like keep generating them on like the subsequent attacks, and like dude I was just maxed out on
It got
Rekka
gross.
points. So that was one of those
Yeah, it got gross.
situations where like you got to be mindful of as the Rekka player, like, okay, how do I generate Rekka points early? And I don't want to lose my hammer, but those are 2 of his best models. It's a decent trade for me. I'll just stay away from that door this turn, and those guys will do nothing. I think the Vandal ended up killing a squig, which is what it is. It's a squig. He's there to die. Um, but yeah,
Okay, those models were my 2 models that I had left were just they were pointless. Like I was
yeah.
like they had no one to charge. Like I think the Vandals killed the squig and the Gorehorn walked out and threw one of my stuns at a hammer guy,
I think
which
you
I
got
guess
the
was still
stun. You got
beneficial.
the stun. You got 4
Yeah,
stuns
he
off
actually
that
got it
game,
off.
which was
No, the
good,
stuns are
but
great. It was
but
just
it all worked out for me. So that was my coolest hammer play ever, because I'm always like just
yeah, no,
not
that was sick.
getting to
Yeah,
use the
that's
rocket hammer because it
badass.
doesn't make sense. But taking out, I guess I did 32 wounds, including what I did to myself. That,
Yeah, it was
you
crazy.
roll at 6d6 plus 18, so that was a lot. So that was my play of the week, and got me the dub basically for the Blaze Toma.
Congrats on your tournament win there, by the way.
Thanks, man. And
Mhm.
it was a 3 round. We only had
Champion.
about 20 guys. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it is nice to go, and especially the weather was beautiful to hang out, and I won a couple bucks of store credit at the local game store, so I can go, uh, you know,
You can go buy Dead Silence.
feed the hobby, bro. Yeah, they don't have fucking Dead Silence for me, bro. They're like, yeah,
Oh
we
no,
sold
it's
that already.
sold out immediately.
I
Yeah,
did
they don't have it
secure,
locally either.
yeah, I did secure some boxes for the boys. So the boys
Nice.
are getting Dead Silence. I feel like I'm always the black market uh, kill team guy. I'm like, what you got? What you need, bro?
The
Like
real rogue
like
trader
I'll
over
find
here.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
look
find
at
you
that.
the box. I'll find you the box. I think I've had kill team releases where no one can find, and I get 3 or 4 boxes, and and I'm not making it's not like I'm scalping and upselling, right?
No,
Like I'm
I
just
got
getting
you.
I'm just
Yeah.
getting the boys their boxes. I just have
Just
this
getting the hook.
uncanny ability to like keep securing all these boxes and helping everybody in the scene get the shit that they can't find. So uh,
What a guy.
yeah. So that's what I think. I got two Dead Silence boxes. I was gonna split get the Space Wolf half because PhoBros. But now with that
Hmm.
$125 to store credit, I might kit bash those Space Wolves and let somebody else enjoy the Space Wolves kit. So we'll see what I decide to do. I got a week to pick up the box, right? And
Yeah.
decide if I'm gonna sell that half or or keep it for myself. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think too, like you guys, obviously Phobos players, right? And so I think you can do a lot of just like, oh, this guy, I have my Mind Layer right here. I've got my Fang Bearer right here. Like very easy to just kind of go one for one, and then all you got to do is find like a Wolf Hound and
And a Psyker.
somebody you want to be your Rune Priest. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I have an insane amount of Phobos bits. I think I have 2 Phobos boxes from when I built the team initially with bodies left over. I didn't build them all, and
I
I
got
have so
so
many.
much
And then
shit too.
I never built my Death Watch, and I have the 2 Phobos bodies from there, plus all the cool tactical Death Watch stuff. So mine are gonna be very. I'm not a Space Wolves guy, though. We've already talked about this. I don't do Space Puppies, so mine are not gonna be Space Wolves. But I am gonna use the new kit and just kind of cut all the Viking stuff off of it.
Real quick, because I know we're getting kind of towards like the final segments here, but I know that like I've only kind of just given a little bit of thought to the Dead Silence teams. Like I'd love to hear a little bit about what you guys think of the Wolf Scouts specifically, being the Phobos experts that you are. Like, is this team too good? Is this team like a little bit overpowered? Are they right on the money?
I have one take on this, and then I think Eric probably has more thoughts than I. I think that they look immediately like super overpowered, but I think when you put them next to the Tau in the box, and after reading through all the rules, I think the Tau stealth suits play more like the Phobos that we all have fell in love with than the Space Wolves do. I think
Interesting.
that the Tau are way more stealthy and are more going to be like a reactionary counterpunch, like really caging up. I think the Wolves are a lot more aggressive, and I think
Hmm.
obviously a little bit more melee and close quarters focused. A lot of the weapons, a lot of plasma pistols, a lot of little power swords. So yeah, that's kind of my initial take. Actually, it was like I'm excited to have Phobos bodies again, but I think they're gonna be like fast and aggressive and not so cagey.
Well, it's funny you say that because I actually play Phobos completely different from you. I play them very fast and aggressive. I do not play the cage game or sit back and wait to react. I'm trying to get up in your face and murder you. So I think this team is all of my alley. Now, do I think they're overpowered? Eh, I don't think any elite team other than like Warp Coven is overpowered when they got rebuffed. But because there's always going to be a team to beat them, and there are only 5 Space Marines. And on top of them being 5 Space Marines, it's not like they're Death Watch where they have so many wounds and they could all heal themselves when they activate. They're they're just 5 Space Marines with 13 wounds, though. They have a better break point. The leader having 14 is phenomenal because he's pretty much an intercessor.
He
Um,
does go back to life on first death as well.
Yeah, that's
and
Yeah.
yeah,
nice.
he has
And
the
they
the
have they have a medic that heals. Like I
he
think
has
they have a
They
lot of
also
stuff.
have damage reduction.
Yeah.
they
-1 attack die, and
The -1 attack
Tomas.
die is
as a
crazy.
The
biased
Mhm.
Space Marine Phobos player, I will. This team is not broken. I think they need a buff. They need a
I
six
think
Space
they need a buff. They need a sixth. Why not give him a seventh, bro? Why think so small?
Let's give him a
Dude,
seventh.
let your
I'm totally
dreams
Look,
down
be
for it.
what
dreams.
about a second Wolfhound? They got 2 drones. Give them two
Yeah,
dogs.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah,
so
2 dogs that
cool.
can charge in this draft phase.
it's
Yeah.
it's funny because Tomas in the chat he said, "Are we gonna talk about how the new Phobos exist to scare away all the melee teams? That way the new Tau suits can actually play the game." He's
Well, I
so
do think
so
the Tau
that's
suits, like Cameron said, I think the Tau suits are the bigger threat in the box. I've seen a few battle
really.
reports, and
I don't know if they're the bigger threat. I just
I
think
think
that
they're
the way I played,
disgusting, bro. You can't
I
get
think the
close
Tau
to
suits are
them.
cool. Yeah, no,
You're
that's
just
great. Yeah,
shooting you off the board, and they have like accurate 2 most of the time when they shoot you, and then if 2 of their models dies, they get +1 accurate. Those
yeah,
guys
no,
are
I think they're gonna be good. They're gonna be
they're
very good
I
as
crazy.
think
well.
they're gonna be
I
good.
just, yeah, I think both teams are very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think both of them are pretty good. I think that people are kind of dooming a lot on the stealth suits, kind of in the larger discourse. I think that they're better than those people think. I think people are kind of buff, like really, really gassing up the wolves. I think they're probably not quite as good as those people think they are. Like I think a lot of what you said makes a lot of sense. I think that being 13 wounds with a damage reduction is practically 14 or 15 wounds, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like they have so much good stuff going for them in melee. I mean, the thing that really jumps out at me is they only get balanced if they take their ploy, and they don't get any rerolls in shooting for free. And with like plasma pistols, I mean, like punishing on like your plasma gun, that's pretty nasty. I like that a lot.
Mm.
I think the thing that really I'm excited for about this team is like I really like the design space of like, you have the storm moving it forward. Like I like the stuff with the node matrix too. This is just like node matrix for smooth brain people like me, because it's just you just measure 6 inches from one token. You only have to manage one token. It's going to be great. I think that I'm going to be like, and that's the thing. Like I've been a Marine hater for so long. Playing like quick games with Nemesis Claw is beautiful, and I'm
Hmm.
very excited to
Mm.
get back to that at least a little bit.
What do you
Yeah,
think, Eric?
I think that Mark kind of nailed it on the head because I've been seeing a lot of doom and gloom about stealth suits, and I've been seeing a lot of, kind of the opposite kind of doom and gloom about Wolf Scouts. And I think it might be just the fact that we have a team that's. I don't think people are realizing that the Tau are actually going to shut down shooty teams really hard. Like if you're a shooty team, you're probably cooked, right? But then if you're a melee team going into Wolf Scouts, you're probably cooked. And it's probably the same way. Like, what are you going to do about a team that you have to get within 3 inches of? And, they have 3 up saves, don't they? And they're 3 APL natively. I think the Tau have a lot going for them. I think they're going to be harder to play. I think that, Phobos are going to be really strong, but also, like, one of your that 6 operative is going to make a huge difference because I feel like I've seen a lot of people struggle with the 5 operative teams that are Death Watch and Raveners because even though we don't have 6 objectives like we used to, the 3 objectives, it's difficult to control the board. You only have 5 bodies.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of the skill expression that we're going to see with the Wolf Scouts might be how you're utilizing that dog, which might sound kind of funny, but I think knowing when to use that strategic phase charge and really kind of making the most out of that and not throwing away that 6 activation and using him to the best of your ability is probably going to be a big part of it. And yeah, I think they're super strong. Like it would be disingenuous for me to be like, oh, Wolf Scouts definitely, there's nothing overtuned about them. But I think that we're kind of maybe blowing things out of proportion when we're saying like, the Wolf Scouts are so broken and like GW, they just give Space Marines the craziest rules and they're going to ruin the entire meta. Motherfucker, we got strong elite teams right now and mandrakes who are they're terrible at killing elites. Mandrakes cannot kill elites, okay? And like people will play them and try and kill elites with them and lose. And then you have guys like Ace who go, yeah, yeah, I'm not fucking, yeah, I'm just gonna score a bunch of points, bro. I'm just gonna win on points, right? And so like, yeah, Wolf Scouts are gonna be really, really powerful, but the game isn't just purely about power. And I think it's cool, like Mark said, that we got these really neat rules with them, and I think they're gonna be a fun team. But we heard a lot of things too in the meta, like, oh, when Deathwatch dropped, another broken elite team. Here we
Oh yeah,
go.
everyone
They
was freaking
they
out
got
about Death Watch.
everything.
For real.
And
Yeah.
look at Worlds. Yeah, I think Deathwatch did well at Worlds. But when you look at how like what was there a Deathwatch in the top 16? I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, there was.
There
There
probably
wasn't. I
I think
think
it
one
was
of the
was.
top
wasn't
10.
Joe?
I think there was one. Like
I'll tell you right now.
there is.
There's a Death
wrong
Watch
page.
on 11th. There's one at 9th.
Okay, so there was a couple, which is
Yeah.
great. And yeah, obviously they're strong, and I'm not saying they're not strong, but it's just the fact that when there's 8 other guys that thought, I think I have a better chance at at getting in the top 10 with with Death Watch. or with something other than Deathwatch, and they did. And so you can't just look at things straight at a power level. And we're looking at the box in a vacuum, which I think we've talked about before. I, for one, am very excited about them. But it's the same way, like, I was excited about Deathwatch, and I found, like, yeah, Deathwatch are fun, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not really entirely the team for me, even though I'm a total Deathwatch simp, and every single
Yeah.
Marine team I have is made of Deathwatch, right? So it's
For real.
like they're all Deathwatch. My Nemesis color Deathwatch, right? Like, this is all Deathwatch. It's Deathwatch all the way down, okay? But, yeah, it's still, it's just one of those things. So I think the doom and gloom, we got to kind of take a break on that and think about things realistically. And then there's always that side. Obviously, the four of us go to tournaments and we do tournament things. And if you're playing over the kitchen counter, which is how I started playing Kill Team, if you have one person that if you have two people of equal skill level and they're both very, very new at the game, the guy with the Space Marine team is going to probably win. I'm sorry, because you guys just don't understand how the missions work. You don't understand how the TAC ops work. Uh, it, and so the one dude who's playing the power fantasy team is just going to smash your face in, because that's kind of how you start playing the game in the beginning. Is you're like, well, I want to attack and I want to roll dice and I'm going to roll
Yeah.
dice. And then so the things are a bit of a vacuum sometimes. So I think we just gotta see what happens and roll with it.
Look, it's the same thing. Everybody is talking about how Orb is a terrible mission. Well, Orb is there because you need to have some things that Marines aren't good at. Envoy is there because you need to have things that are easy to score against Marines. Like
Like
the
Orb.
I think
Yeah.
Orb doesn't seem that bad.
Orb's great.
Yeah,
I like
I've
it.
liked Orb. Yeah.
You just look.
But people, not you, but a lot of people, other people have told me the same thing. With like, I don't like the Orb. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Look, you just have to think about it differently. Like this one thing is like I have been losing a lot of games lately, and the thing is I have not really been doing my homework. Like I need to take some time, and I'm planning to. I'm actually going to be releasing a crit up guide on the Vox Scream Patreon pretty soon. I need to sit down for like 2 hours and really like think through like the puzzle that is Approved Ops 2025, and think about it in the context of the teams that I really want to play. Like all of my biggest successes over the last year are when I've done my homework, and I think that newer players, more experienced players, all you're going to have to do is like figure out your homework against these two new teams. Like you're going to find the Mandrake solution to Canoptech, in that same sort of like metaphor for Wolf Scouts. Like there's a team out there that is good into these teams. Maybe Felgor. I don't know. Probably not into Scouts.
Not into
I think Scouts are
gonna
going to
be that. It's gonna be
destroy
that.
Felgor with that. Yeah, 3 attack dice on
3
Felgor.
attack
It's
is
just
Yeah.
crazy.
Come at me,
It's gonna
Landon.
make
I'm
me-
ready for you.
You literally can't even kill them. They're gonna have like lethal 5, lethal
No.
4. They'll parry out your only crit and take 9 damage at best. So
It's gonna be
yeah.
gross.
There's gonna be some polarizing matchups, but it's like that in a lot of things. And the meta transforms in different ways. And I think we've talked about it in the past. I'd rather see teams that are cool and teams that are strong, and us have to tune them down, even though I was the biggest Sanctifier hater on the planet, bro. When the Sanctifiers came out, that team drove me crazy. But I
Yeah.
didn't doom and gloom until I played them multiple times, and I was like, guys, this is
It just felt
this
so
is
bad.
actually
Every
insane.
time.
Like this is actually
Every
crazy,
time it
guys.
just
Like
felt
have
so
y'all,
bad.
have y'all experienced this? Because I'm not having fun anymore. Like this is actually not fun. So maybe it will be. Maybe again, just like I hated on Mandrakes, maybe I'll be putting my foot in my mouth about Wolf Scouts. But let's just wait and see what the hell happens and how they actually act on the table. Do you guys know off the top of your head what TAC ops they have?
No.
Seek
But
and
what did they-
Recon.
Seek
Yeah,
and
Seek
Recon.
and
So
Okay.
so amazing.
That's
All right.
nice.
Well, we don't have to talk about that.
That's
those,
cool.
Those are pretty
No.
good. Those are
One thing
pretty
I'm
good.
excited for is they don't have Omni Scramble, and like Mark, you were wondering like how like some stuff like, but the dog is almost like an Omni Scramble in a way in the strat phase, because if you don't win initiative and someone's got something set up, that's going to be game changing, and the dog
Go
is
get
in
him.
charge range. Yep, just go charge him and hold him up, or vice versa. If you win initiative and the dog can go in there and charge and do something cool, I think it's
Tennis
almost
charge
more
is
of
a
an
hell of a drug, man.
Bro,
You know,
and
you
yeah,
you're
gotta
on
be able
a.
to-
it
Lose it
feels. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
gonna really do it as an offensive thing. I think I'll do it more defensively. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna be to save a way more important Marine, and just tie somebody up,
And
especially
dude,
if I've lost initiative.
The dog doesn't mess around. He's 4/5 rending, right? Something
Yeah.
like that.
Dude,
4/5
Oh, he's still
rending.
great in melee, but
Yeah.
but you're
I
gonna
think
be
it's-
able to do the goofiest shit with that oval base. You're gonna like
yeah.
Oh my
cruise
God.
by somebody's
Yes.
control range, get into someone else's control range, and you're gonna be like tying up 2 people because it's so
It's gonna be a
because it's just
problem.
so nutty.
I
So
actually
like there's
saw
gonna be some goofy stuff with that.
I saw Brad do
You
that
haven't
on
had that
Mount
updates,
Tabletop.
right?
There's one on
Yeah.
Hunter Clade,
The Hunter Clade, the
the
big gun.
Archaeotech beam. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not what it's
Yeah.
called, but you know that's the best way I can describe it. The
But I
giant.
saw
gun.
Brad do
Noted
that.
charging menace, the Hunter Clade.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw an exact same play, Eric. Brad charged the wolf into 2 stealth suits.
Mm,
Or and then when he used the jetpack fallback, he could only do it with 1 guy.
right.
So the wolf just ate the other guy alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
That's
nothing.
cool.
So,
Such a big base.
there's gonna be some cool stuff
Right.
with it, but we're getting pretty long on this pod. We've just been having a lot of fun with Mark. We're glad to have you here, bro. So let's run
We love
into
Mark.
Yeah, it's been a great one.
our last segment to finish up the pod, our That's Heresy segment.
That's Heresy, brother.
Cool. So this week we got Mark and myself discussing shooting teams versus melee teams. So what do you think? Which one of those is heresy, Mark?
I think that shooting teams are heresy, really. Like, and maybe I've got it backwards, right? Because look, I'm very much like a melee Andy here. Like, I love playing melee teams. Like, I really like just being able to go and charge and fight. It really works well with my smooth brain. But I mean, the end of the day, like I just don't have as many feel bads because I'm gonna deal damage. Like, you're not rolling saves. I'm gonna at least hit you once, probably. I mean, but when I get right down to it, I think that shooting is something that one of the Emperor's lapdogs would do, and I would never. I simply would never.
You know
Look,
what I
like
think,
said,
man?
what's that?
You know what's heresy? Dying on your own activation, bro.
Ooh,
I've never shot a guy and died on my own. I mean, okay, that's a lie. I've used a hot plasma before.
Yeah,
but,
have you ever heard of this thing called guard?
yeah, but I'm just saying, all right? Like,
Bro.
you're out there, everybody loves the USA, dude. Second Amendment, America #1. Obviously, firearms are life, dude. And to have some cool 40K tech and just delete somebody. Nice defense dice too. Dude, this is piercing 2, mortal wounds 4, motherfucker. How about you just, that's 2 crits.
Yeah.
Pick her up. Pick that model up, dude. There's something satisfying about the mortal wounds that you get. And then you have so much, there's very few stun abilities in melee, right? Like we have a few this edition, but having stun and just retaining a crit and being like, dude, doesn't matter. You can save everything. You got 1 APL. Like, I'm happy getting that lethal 5 stun off on crude. So I don't have to worry about when I roll my dice and I whiff and shooting. I just walk away. You're picking up that goat, dude. That guy's going back in the box, bro. That's heresy, bro.
And look, I will concede the point that, there are a lot of great guns out there. I think I'm very down on shooting teams because my favorite shooting team that I've ever played is the Hearthkin Salvagers. I don't know if you guys are dwarf stands at all. I love the Hearthkin Salvagers.
I just experienced them for the first time. Like I just got someone played me with them, and I've
Well-
learned just how great they are at shooting. And
Well,
also
here's the
not
thing.
dying.
I think they used to be even better at shooting. In the previous edition, you could use approximate firepower to improve your ballistic skill above 3. So you could throw grenades that hit on 2s. That was incredible. They had like their plasma beamer was a piercing 2 gun before. So the way that you used to be able to use them is you had unwieldy was a weapon rule back in the day, which meant that you had to spend 2 action points to do a shoot action, and you had the magma rail, which was unwieldy. It was 5-4 Dev 3, Piercing 2, something like that, and unwieldy, right? But they have this ploy, the ancestors are watching, you got to do a free shoot action. So you would do popcorn plays where you reposition up on the vantage, roast somebody with the magma rail, and then dash back into safety. And you just can't do that anymore. And so because they said, fuck me in particular, and the shooting team that I like, shooting is heresy. It just is, dude.
Mark became a villain.
You
You
know, and
became the
that
villain.
is one thing that was a bit of a shame, and I got over it, but I like to bitch, so of course I bitched about this when the edition first dropped. But we lost some identities of some teams, and Salvagers were one of those teams where
Yeah.
they
Their
lost
identity
some
was being
things,
absolute elite killers, and they just aren't that
slaughterers.
anymore.
Yeah, they're not, and so it would be cool, to see some of that come back, and instead it changed into this thing where you're like, and I haven't played them since the nerf and then the buff again. It's kind of they've been doing like this whole
Right.
like wave thing. But like I played in the beginning of the edition and it's like, oh, well actually like last activation, I yeet up Jetpack Man and steal initiative. That was like, oh, so that's what you guys are doing now? Like, all right. I mean
Yeah.
that's kind of weird.
Number 12 inches, yeah.
Because I was used to what you were talking about, where it's like, oh, I move, dash, and shoot you in the face, or I move and spend a CP and then dash away, and they were hitting you with like crazy piercing shots, and then they had the whatever dude who gave you like the no obscuring aura, so they could shoot like really cheeky no obscuring shots across the board with that, and
Yeah.
they were super lethal, and now things have just changed so much, and it's like that
Yeah.
with a handful of teams, and I'm happy with where the game's at now, but it took me a bit to get
Absolutely.
over how things changed in that way.
I- Yeah, yeah, yeah. Overall, I think the newest edition is certainly better than the last edition. I think that there's
Mhm.
still like, hurdles to overcome. Look, I guess my final thought on this is if I was going to be a heretic and play a shooting team, which, sometimes I am, I'm playing the Ratlings because my dice are just terrible when I'm rolling
Mm.
shooting attacks. I'm just rolling so many twos, and so I need a shooting team that can hit on twos
Halo
like
twos.
pretty
Yeah.
reliably.
Yeah.
And
And
they're also really good now.
yeah.
They
Like
are
they're
really good.
gross. Oh, they're
Like when
so
I
gross. They
said
were
I got
good
my ass
before.
kicked.
Now they're so gross.
Exactly. Like when I said I got my ass kicked by Ratlings earlier this week, like I got my ass handed to
You
me
were
by
you were
Ratlings.
underselling it. You were underselling it a little bit.
The
A little.
caginess of the team is crazy. It's
Yeah.
just so gross now.
Oh my god, dude. And
Yeah.
like the Ogrins, oh, love the Ogrins. They're so good.
Yeah,
That
Ogrins are
look,
sick. It's a cool team like build up when you look at them on the board. Like it's a cool mixture.
the real
Yeah.
heresy is being good at both shooting and melee. Being good, like Deathwatch, good at both. I
Yeah.
think Wolf
Yeah.
Scout's going to be good at both.
They will
I think
be.
Ratlings are good at both in the way that they've got so many like just deadly guns in the backline supporting these absolute melee chonkers up front.
Yeah. And honestly,
I think that's
I'm
something
I'm really
you
a
got.
melee team guy at heart. Like I really
Mhm.
like I play certain teams shooty. Like I actually played Phobos this edition more shooty, and even last edition. Like I think I leaned into Reavers maybe less than a lot of other people did playing Phobos. Yeah, like I know you're a Reaver guy. That's why I was like, dude, I've seen like and if you play all the Reavers, you got to play aggressive like you like to play, right? If you don't, if you
Just run
play
up
them
your face.
yes, and you can do some damage, but there's something I think that there's one thing that Kill Team does right, and the way the melee system is designed in Kill Team, it's
It's
amazing.
chef's kiss.
It's so
It's
good,
fantastic.
bro. It's so good, and it's so lethal. And like you said, you're doing damage no matter what. But you do, and that's kind of what makes it so cool is you have that tight butthole moment, and you roll fucking two ones and two twos, and you're like,
Mm.
I just die now. Like, but that's the whole thing. They can also whiff, and you're just like, yeah, thank you. Just eat that model up, dude, and keep it trucking, and that's what makes melee so fucking sick. But I do like playing shooty teams too. I like just switching it up, but I think I'm really more of a melee guy at the end of the day, because Kill Team just does melee so well.
I always, when I'm trying to tell normies about Kill Team, I always describe it as chess with guns. And I mean, if I was really as much about melee as I claim to be, I would call it chess with swords, wouldn't
Just
I?
with swords, yeah.
They probably have
Yeah.
swords in chess, right? Like the knight probably has a
He
sword, right?
probably
Why isn't the
does.
knight
They
a
doing
fucking
wizards
sword?
chess. They're doing
Yeah,
wizards chess.
yeah,
So
that's so funny, and it's hilarious.
It's a great way to describe the game to people though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
40
People immediately
points.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were
It's
playing
either,
at Blaze
people will be
Pizza.
like, is it like Dungeons and Dragons? And I'm like,
No,
no,
it's like
nothing, no,
chess.
no Dungeons and Dragons
Mhm.
here. They see the
chess with
models
Call of
though, and they're
Duty.
like immediately they're like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, no, it
Right.
definitely does at first. And that's what I was saying. We were at Blaze Pizza playing a tournament this weekend, which was very unorthodox. Normally, you're in like your little nerd temple, right? Like we're
Hmm.
only nerds here. Thank you. That's it. Are you a nerd? Get the fuck out if you're not, right? But we're at we're at Blaze, and we're on the patio just playing, and people are like, "What in the fresh hell is going on right now. And they're coming up to some of us, and my buddy Kyle, he just kept getting approached by people because he's just a normal looking guy. I guess he was very approachable. And they're like, "What are you guys doing?" And he's like, "Oh, it's like chess but with a lot of rules, you know?" And it's kind of like, "Well, that's pretty true too. That's actually pretty true. It is chess with guns, but also it's chess with a lot of rules about our guns, dude. Like you gotta know all the rules about the guns and swords to play this chess game. But it really is, and I think, like I love playing chess. I've actually been playing. I got like back into chess recently, and I think if you enjoy playing chess, you'll enjoy playing Kill Team. And I think if you enjoy playing Kill Team, you'll probably enjoy playing chess. So, if anybody's listening out there and you have chess.com, dude, you can go. You just play random people all the time. That's what I've been doing. It's a lot of fun.
Checkmate.
Yeah, dude, like it's a good time. It's a good time. It'll scratch the itch if you're trying to get that competitive itch, and definitely a totally different game than Kill Team, right? But there's some similarities in some things about it. But
Yeah, there's a reason people have been playing it for thousands of years, right?
yeah, seriously. But hey, guys, we're getting close to an hour and a half. It's like our longest episode that we've had. We've just been having too much fun chatting, so I think we should wrap it up. Mark
Yeah.
Meyer, total blast to have you, bro. For anybody who's still listening, thank you for joining us. And go check out Mark Meyer's podcast with some of his buddies, Vox Scream. You can
Vox
catch
Scream
him on.
Podcast.
Yep,
They're on Instagram.
yep.
Where
You
else
can.
can they find you, Mark? You want to plug?
Yeah. So if you haven't listened to the Vox Scream podcast, we are mostly like a competitive focused kill team podcast. You can check us out on anywhere that you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, yada, yada, yada. We're on YouTube too, trying to get things going there. We're on Patreon. We got a lot of exclusive Patreon content and a lot of stuff planned between now and the end of the year. We also got a really fun Discord. We'll get some like links for that somewhere in the description or something like that. But hey, it has been so much fun hanging out and chatting with y'all. Sorry for yapping for so much
No,
time,
dude.
but
All
similarly,
good.
I've been having a blast. So
It was a
it means
pleasure.
a lot, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, bro. And we'll definitely have you on in the future. It's just fun to, we're doing this thing because we like to hang out and talk about Kill Team and shoot the shit about nerd stuff that we enjoy doing. So thanks for everybody
Maybe
who made it this far.
we'll have all the Vox Scream guys on one day with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
We'll
little
have
three
like
v
a
three
fun.
action. That'll be fun.
That'll be
Yeah,
fun.
that'll be a wild ride. I'm sure we got six people in here. Yeah, just battling for the mic. No, I'm kidding. But hey, thanks everybody, and listen to us every Sunday. We stream and we're up on Spotify. And if you are listening to this live, I am the best podcast host ever, so I am actually streaming on the wrong YouTube channel. So we normally are on Six-Sided Paradise. Right now I'm on PhoBros, which I need to adjust that. But in the future, Six-Sided Paradise, we're streaming every Sunday. You can catch us on Spotify. I'll have this episode uploaded ASAP. But thanks everybody. You guys have a good one. Peace.
Later.